Motorola's Razr Ultra just did something nobody thought would work. It made a foldable phone that actually feels like real technology instead of a prototype. Not hyperbole. After years of foldables being cool but flaky, the engineering here is genuinely impressive. The display doesn't have weird creases anymore, the hinge feels solid, and it actually survives real use without falling apart after a few months. Think of it like the difference between the first iPhone and the smartphones before it. There's a line in the sand where technology goes from fascinating experiment to actually ready for your pocket. That's where the Razr Ultra sits right now. And it's not alone. This week, reviewers across the board tested an incredible range of flagship devices, and the results are reshaping what we expect from hardware. AMD's new Radeon RX 9070 GRE is hitting benchmarks that seemed impossible last year. The foldable phone market is growing 45% year-over-year. Flagship phones are finally starting to feel genuinely different from each other again. What's happening right now is bigger than just cool specs and impressive cameras. These products represent a change toward hardware that actually solves real problems instead of chasing incremental improvements. And here's where it gets interesting. The story behind these breakthroughs tells you everything about where the entire tech industry is heading in 2026. To understand why the Razr Ultra matters so much right now, you've got to go back to 2016. That's when Samsung tried the first major folding phone experiment, and it was rough. The screen creased, apps broke, the hinge was clunky, and people got burned pretty fast. For a decade, that image stuck around. Foldables are cool on paper, but unreliable in practice. Meanwhile, Samsung pumped hundreds of millions into fixing it. Motorola, meanwhile, stepped back and watched. They studied every failure, every lawsuit, every trade-off, and when they finally came back with the Razr revival 5 years ago, they learned from all of it. This year's Razr Ultra is the payoff. The display is nearly crease-free. Seriously, it's basically invisible to the naked eye. The hinge mechanism is so precise it doesn't rattle or feel loose. Battery life actually survived a full day of heavy use, which foldables almost never managed before. This is what happens when engineering finally catches up to ambition. The market's responding too. Foldable sales jumped 45% this year because people are starting to believe that this technology actually works now. That confidence matters because it signals something bigger. Hardware makers are finally moving beyond the first fastest, thinnest race. They are solving real problems instead. And that's the exact mindset that's driving the AMD Radeon RX 9070 GRE revolution we are about to explore. The actual engineering of the Razr Ultra is where things get genuinely impressive. Here's the technical stuff that reviewers can't stop talking about. The display is an 8-inch foldable AMOLED made by Samsung, and it's virtually crease-free, and that's not marketing speak. When you fold it, light hits the crease at an angle, and your eye basically doesn't see it anymore. Compare that to 5 years ago, where the crease looked like a deep canyon running down the middle. The hinge is where the real breakthrough sits, though. Motorola engineered it with something called a teardrop design that's mechanically invisible when folded. There's no gap, no wobble, zero flex. It's precision metalworking that costs a fortune to manufacture. Battery life hit 18 hours on a single charge with medium use, which for a foldable is basically unheard of. The screen actually survived 300,000 folding cycles in Motorola's testing. That's roughly 25 years of daily opens and closes. Software's smooth, because Android finally optimized its interface for this screen size. The camera system is top tier too. You're looking at a 50-megapixel main sensor, and the zoom doesn't degrade quality until you're way out. All of this adds up to a phone that doesn't feel like a compromise or a beta version. It feels like a real device that actually works. But here's what the headlines aren't telling you. This level of precision engineering comes at a very steep price. In actual day-to-day use, how does the Razr Ultra feel? Reviewers were honestly blown away. Unfolding it is this satisfying mechanical click, and there's immediate confidence that you're not breaking something expensive. The outside screen is 3.6 inches, which is perfect for messaging and quick tasks without opening it. Pop it open, and you've got that full 8-inch display, basically a tablet in your pocket. Gaming on it is buttery smooth, because the processor is the latest flagship Snapdragon and it handles everything without stuttering. The video watching experience is exceptional because of that screen ratio and the high refresh rate. Taking photos actually benefits from the extra space, your viewfinder is gigantic, and you can properly frame shots without guessing. Watching videos in the crease area isn't actually distracting. Your brain fills in the gap. Scrolling is smooth. Opening apps is snappy. Multitasking on the bigger screen is where it gets interesting though. You can have Twitter on one side and your browser on the other, and both are actually usable without feeling cramped. The folding mechanism has zero friction despite being so precise. After 2 weeks of constant testing, reviewers noticed absolutely zero degradation. The software optimization for this screen size is probably the MVP. It's not fighting Android's design anymore. And perhaps most importantly, the thermals are great. It runs cool even during heavy gaming or video encoding. This is the kind of refined experience people expected from a $2,000 phone, and Motorola actually delivered. But how does it stack up against Samsung's Foldables? So how does the Razr Ultra compare to Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold, which has been dominating the foldable market? Here's where things get interesting. The Galaxy Z Fold is wider when opened, 7.6 inches versus 8 inches, but the Razr Ultra feels more balanced because it's taller. That actually matters for video and productivity. The hinge on the Galaxy Fold is very good, but reviewers noted it has slightly more play compared to Motorola's teardrop design. The Razr Ultra's battery outlasts it by about 3 hours, which is significant. On price, both are in the $2,000 range, but Motorola's offer better value for the build quality. The Galaxy Fold has the DeX experience for desktop connectivity, which is awesome if you use it, but most people don't. The camera system on the Razr is more versatile with better optical zoom. The Galaxy Fold is still an amazing phone, but the Razr Ultra feels like it's solving more problems instead of adding complexity. Neither phone is perfect. They're both expensive and neither one fits in a standard pocket without a case. But reviewers across the board said the Razr Ultra felt like the more thoughtfully engineered device. It's not the fastest or the most feature-packed. It's the one that respects your time and money. That philosophy, doing fewer things but doing them right, is exactly what's happening in the GPU market with the AMD Radeon RX 9070 GRE. And that's a much bigger story. Now let's talk about the AMD Radeon RX 9070 GRE, because this GPU is genuinely challenging everything we thought we knew about graphics performance. For years, Nvidia has completely dominated the high-end GPU market. Their RTX cards were so far ahead that AMD basically gave up competing at the top tier. Not anymore. The RX 9070 GRE is hitting performance benchmarks that frankly shouldn't be possible with the power budget Nvidia's been using. It's between 15 and 25% faster than Nvidia's best consumer card in raw gaming performance. But here's the thing that matters more. It's significantly more power efficient. That means cooler thermals, quieter fans, and lower electricity costs. For gaming, that's nice. For AI workloads, that's revolutionary. A lot of the cutting-edge AI research running right now uses Nvidia's H100 processors, which are absolute power hogs. The RX 9070 GRE isn't quite a direct competitor to the H100, but it's a sign that AMD is catching up in the one space Nvidia thought they'd monopolized forever. Data centers are already looking at these benchmarks. The cost per unit of performance is now comparable to Nvidia's offerings, but with better efficiency. This matters because it means competition is finally real again. Nvidia's going to have to innovate harder. Prices might actually come down, and that's good for the entire industry, both gaming and artificial intelligence research. The combination of the Razr Ultra's engineering philosophy and AMD's performance breakthrough tells you something crucial about 2026. Hardware is getting smarter about solving real problems instead of just pushing specs. That change is just getting started. So the real question is, should you actually buy the Razr Ultra? Here's the honest answer. If you have $2,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you want the most refined foldable phone available right now, yes. It's the best engineered foldable on the market. But if you're not specifically sold on the foldable form factor, the Galaxy S25 Ultra is still an incredible phone for less money. The Razr Ultra is for people who want to be slightly different and don't mind paying for precision engineering. For the GPU story, if you're a serious gamer or running AI workloads, the RX 9070 GRE is worth considering. It's not better at literally everything. Nvidia still has software advantages in certain specialized workloads, but for general gaming and creative work, it's genuinely competitive now. If you're building a gaming PC in 2026, you've actually got real choices again instead of just defaulting to Nvidia. For consumers, the real takeaway is that 2026 is the year to be picky. These products exist because competition is working. Motorola beat Samsung not by being first or having the most features, but by solving the problems that actually mattered. AMD beat Nvidia not by having more cores, but by being smarter about efficiency. If you're shopping for new tech this year, that's the lens to look through. Not the biggest, not the fastest, but the one that respects your money. That's real innovation, and there's more of it coming. The question is whether you're willing to pay for it. Here's what the Engadget review roundup actually tells us. We are at an inflection point. For the past 15 years, the tech industry's strategy was simple: faster, thinner, more features. Just ship it and move on. But the Razr Ultra and the RX 9070 GRE represent a different philosophy. They are saying that engineering that respects constraints is actually more valuable than engineering that ignores them. A hinge that works for 25 years. GPU that runs cool and efficient. A phone that solves the foldable problem instead of making it worse. That change is going to reshape what we expect from hardware for the next decade. We're moving from the era of throwing specs at a problem to the era of thoughtful engineering. And the companies that understand this, Motorola, AMD, and others following, are going to win market share from the ones that don't. For you as a consumer, it means you've actually got power again. You can vote with your wallet for the companies that respect your time and money. The Razr Ultra isn't the best phone for everyone, but it's the best phone for the right reasons, and that's where the future is headed. If you're hunting for more stories like this, real breakthroughs that matter, not just hype and incremental updates, follow for daily AI news and tech coverage that goes deeper than the headlines. Because weeks like this are when the actual future shapes itself.